Hello and welcome to Ivory Blush Roses. My name is Lisa and today we are stitching seam 14 on the CQtober pillow project. Let's see what stitch we have in hand today. Here's our bowl of stitches. There's one. Let's see what we have today. So today we have just plain chevron stitch. So that'll be fun. And I think we're going to try and do a little shorter seam with that one today. Let's take a look where we want to do this. Chevron stitch is better done on a straight seam. I have not had tremendous success doing it on curved seams. We're out of the center. I mean, we're definitely on other things. Now, I first went right to this one, but that's right next to where we did it before. So I think we want to be over maybe on this side of the block. We could do it here. That's a really short seam. Let's look at this side. I actually am wondering about doing it off of this bottom seam here. I think that might be a good one because I don't want to do it right next to where we had it before, or we could do it here. Let's do it here. Got that stripe. So if I'm doing chevron, I want something to come off of it to kind of break up that stripe. So that's lots of black, and we really want something that's going to light up off of that. We've got that golden brown. We always have our beige. We do have beige right here. Picks up that, so, and it picks up this, so that might actually be a fun one to use. But I don't want it to be too similar to the seams we've done before either. We could use some green on this one as well. We've got our 3 greens here, and my instinct is to go with this kind of medium green. I think that actually shows up really nicely, and we haven't used green on a center main stitch in a long time, so that might be really good. And then what do we want to come off of it with? We have this one. This is that one I keep calling burgundy because it's got burgundy in it, and that would be nice with it. I think we're going to need 3 colors. Do we then want to add that? I'm not sure that livens it up like I would like. That one does okay, and we haven't used that over here in a while, so I think that might be good. So I think that might be our 3 colors right there. Let's put these others back, and then let me get this in a hoop, and we will be back. So we're going to do chevron along this seam. When you're doing chevron, remember that it's going to zigzag across the seam, and then it's going to have little caps on the top and bottom of the triangles. There's so many things you can do with chevron. You can do a single chevron, you can stack them evenly, you can run them parallel to one another. It's one of those seams that I don't think people use often enough in crazy quilting because it's so versatile for adding stuff to or for just changing the look of. I'm just wondering if we ought to do a double row of chevron here. We have a fairly short seam. I'm not sure about that. I think we're just going to do a single row. I need to decide scale of it. This adjacent one is pretty large, and so I don't want to do something the same scale. I want to vary the scale of things. Probably a stitch that's a little bit smaller, but I could also go much steeper, and that might actually change it enough to make a difference. Let's try that. So I'm going to start. How big do I want to make this? Well, let's just try it. Sometimes you just have to do it, and you don't know until you do it. Pulled through a thread, probably from these lazy daisies over here. There we go. Okay. So I am going to do this one fairly large, but I'm hoping that it's enough different angle than this one that it's not going to make a difference. And I'm going to put a sizable cap on this one. When we did it over on the other seam, we did a pretty small cap. So I want to go just slightly bigger on this one. Remember, I'm holding my cap thread out of the way so I can come right back up at the same point. And then we're going to come back down. Now I'm going to do that back stitch on the back. Come over, and before I pull it tight, come back up right there where I left that other one. And then we're going to go back up. And again, we're going to try and keep our threads nice and parallel and straight across the top. They're not straight across the top. They just don't look nearly as nice generally with a stitch like this. Let's hold that out of the way. And then again, parallel and down there. And so when I'm doing these caps, I'm coming over, and I have to think, I've got that other thread going off, so I've got to come over what seems like a little bit extra on that side in order to make it look even once I get this other thread in there. So I'll just stitch along here. I am loving the frame, as I've gotten a couple of these older videos edited finally and uploaded. I realize what a difference the frame makes for you being able to see what I'm stitching. From here out, I'm working on a frame or hoop in the stand because I think it makes such a positive difference. That's got a little crooked cap on it. I can't see where my needle's coming up in this black fabric. I do like the green on it. Of course, I like green anyway, if you couldn't tell. That one might be a little short. Let's pull that out. Let's try that again. And straight over. I just wasn't paying attention. I think it still looks short, and I think it's the pattern of the fabric that makes it look that way. Let's see if I got that one any straighter. And again, I'm not working with my seam straight onto me, so sometimes that throws me a little bit as well. But I'm working right up to the edge, and I don't want this corner in the clamp. I actually think we may come back with another chevron on this. Whoop, stitched around the knob. We're right down near the edge. I'm probably ½ an inch from the edge on this one because it's barely into the hoop here. I'm going to put the cap on, see if we can come up this side and go that way so it's easier to knot on the other side. All right, and I think we're going to just park that up here for now, and we'll do all the knots later. What I'm thinking is that I would like to do another chevron over this, coming like so. And I've got to stop and think, where am I coming from? How far out do I need to be? So on this one, I'm going to put my cap in first. So this one's going to be a little lower. I think doing this will help keep it from looking like this seam as well. And then we're going to come here in between. This is one of those things about just playing with your stitches and having fun with it. What can you come up with? I didn't have to look it up in a book. I didn't have to stitch it exactly the same way somebody else has already stitched it. Just using your imagination and seeing what would make that stitch interesting. I think play is so important, and as adults we just don't play enough with things. We play in a different way. We all have just endless amounts of creativity if we allow ourselves. There's my soapbox for the day. Again, I'm keeping my lines parallel. I don't even think about it anymore. It's just something I automatically watch for. But I love that I don't have to always get out the stencils and markers and rulers and stuff to do it. I can just sit down with my thread and stitch. Don't need all that other stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's useful, and I definitely use them. If I have a choice and can stitch without it, that's always my preferred method. And like we did a combination stitch a couple days ago. I don't remember when. I'm losing track of which stitch is which day it was on. And we did herringbone and chevron for that. So, I mean, you can think about this middle stitch could have been a herringbone, but also think about a cretonne stitch. That also would look lovely in here. Of course, both of those would give a slightly different appearance. I'm looking to be right in the middle of that V here. Almost done. Feel it catch, and I've got a little knot on the back. You can almost hear when something goes different on the back side, and you can feel it too. Your muscle memory, even from just doing these small amount of stitches, all of a sudden seemed like, oh, that was a little shorter than it should have been, and I could kind of hear a catch as I pulled the thread through. I don't know if we can put a cap on that or not. We'll try. We're way down there where it's probably going to be in the seam of whatever pillow I do. So there we have those. And now we have our third color. And what do we want to do with it? Let me think about this for a minute. There's a stitch that we have not done a lot of. These are the only pistil stitches that we have done, and I'm actually thinking that might be a great thing coming off of here. What I need to decide is, do I want to do them coming off the tops or the inside here? I'm actually kind of thinking the inside one. What would you think if we did it that way? That would be really different. Let's do that. So I'm going to start. We're going to need to start here to finish this seam off. I'm going to do 3 wraps for my French knot part of it. Are we coming out? Or do we need to come out further up here? I kind of like it farther out. We can always cut it out if we need to. So we're coming out of the inside of our orange chevron. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's not in the center. Holy cow. How did I get that one so far off? Well, this is going to be a wildly different stitch. And I'm just trying to bring my thread out sort of evenly between the 2 caps. That is a pretty long stitch. So I'm actually wondering about maybe coming back with a little straight stitch of some sort, just to kind of tighten things down. We'll get this done and then we'll take a look at it. Because it's such a long stitch, it's really eating up thread quickly, so I think we'll probably have to rethread here at some point. So I think my thread is twisting, so I just need to let my needle dangle a minute and untwist. If you're stitching along with me, don't feel like you have to stitch this exactly the way I have. Make it your own. If you want to do shorter pistil stitches somewhere else on here, do it. That's the thing that makes it unique. This is definitely going to be a different looking seam on this block than most of them. Variety is the spice of life, isn't it? See, I think I've got 1 or 2 more of these left on this thread before we need to knot. Let's see if we can do it. I got a little off to one side there. This is going to be tight here. I've got 3 knots I need to make. Let's just get these done. Let's get this gold one out of the way first, because I want that pistil stitch to stay locked in. And yes, I always leave a little tail there. I don't want my end too close that it'd be more likely to pull out. So leaving a little tail makes it a little harder for it to come undone. So I realize when I'm coming up straight in the center, it then pushes the second one off to the side. And I just am not paying enough attention to it. So instead of coming up in the center, I want to come up closer to the side that I want that stitch to come up. Let's see if that helps this. Yeah. We're going to be 6 of one, half dozen of the other here. Okay, again, we're going to try that over here. Come up closer to the side that I'm stitching on. Okay, I think this one is better. Now I have room to bring up this other stitch. And now the V that they make will be more symmetrical with everything else. And that one they're coming up right. No, I'm coming up too far. Could have pulled that one a little tighter. And I think this one is questionable about even doing. Never mind, let's just do it. I don't know how close to the edge we are here. There we go. All right, now that's an interesting seam. Definitely different than anything we've done so far. I'm actually toying with the idea of coming up. Do I want to do that? We'll try one and see. Actually, I really like that. So we're going to put a short pistil stitch in the center of all of those really tall ones. I didn't know I wanted to do that. I think it's going to add definition to the seam. Fudge that one. I need to come up right down there. So really pay attention to where that needle's coming up. Boy, that is a simple change, but I think it makes the seam. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think about this extra little pistil stitch in here? Everything is just long lines and there was no cohesiveness. There wasn't anything to kind of pull your attention in, and all of a sudden when you add these, it gives your eye a place to focus and it just finishes the pattern. One more and then I need another thread, so lots of thread on this one. So the magic of a third pistil stitch. Isn't that amazing what a difference that made? It just helped define everything that was going on. Again, just the importance of stitch play, just like we talked about back when we were doing the rickrack seams, which, by the way, I still have 2 more rickrack videos that I have already filmed, and they will be coming in November. All right, that seam is finished. I don't see anything else that it needs. Let me tie our knot. We'll get it off the hoop and take a look at it. I could not be happier with that seam. I like the fact that I did that green one and I decided to do it tall and then overlay it. And then I was pretty happy with those long pistil stitches because it's just a little different than anything I've done before. But adding in those short pistil stitches made the seam. I'm so pleased with that. What fun! Well, I don't know about you, but I had so much fun playing on this seam today, and I'm so thrilled with how it turned out. Every now and then you have one of those seams that just sparks something in you, and that's what this seam was for me today. Thank you for watching. Happy stitching! Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video.